So this is a short video for those people doing Edexcel GCSE business studies, mainly aimed at the people who are on the A-star downwards qualification rather than the new legacy 9 to 1. This is a video on calculated risk and fits with topic 1.2 showing enterprise. As always with my videos, I'm going to talk quickly. What you need to do is watch the video and create your own notes in your own language. If there's anything that's not clear, rewind the video or press pause, skip back, watch it again. If it's still not clear, use Tutor2U, GCSE Bite Size, B Business B, have videos, any other reputable source from which you can hear the information in a slightly different way. Two or three sources and I'm pretty confident you'll be able to get this information, but the key is to translate it into your own language. It is much more memorable if you create your own resource and it's in your own language. So let's crack on. So I'm going to come to the key term calculated risk in a minute. I'm going to focus on upsides and downsides. Obviously there's a few words there and you can read that definition and play about with it yourself, but essentially downsides, something going wrong, upsides, something being good, something going well for you. Obviously that's in a business context and we'll look at some examples in a bit, but don't get overphased by any of these key terms, particularly upside and downside. We'll look at calculated risk now. So the two key words that we're trying to get out here, probability, negative event. So let's crack on and look at that. There is a 50-50 chance probability that he would lose over 10% of his customers. So probability, 50-50 chance, lose his customers, negative event, definitely a calculated risk. 25% chance, probability because it's a percentage, profits falling, negative event, therefore it's a calculated risk. 30% chance, it's a probability of his business failing, negative event. Okay, so when you're looking at a multiple choice question, look for, does it have a percentage or a ratio in? It's got to have that, or it cannot be a calculated risk. And is it negative? What they might try and trip you up with in the exam is get the percentage in there so you go, oh yeah, it must be that one, but it'll be a positive event. And then obviously that isn't a calculated risk. So you're looking for the percentage or the ratio and it being a negative event. Shouldn't be too tricky. Possibly even try writing your own calculated risks. Try and come up with some. And that'll help reinforce that learning. Now we're looking at upsides and downsides. These are the sort of traditional ones that they will think about. So obviously for a business, a downside, something going bad, would be reduced or no customers, lower than expected sales. More competition is obviously terrible for businesses. Possible upsides, boosting customer numbers, good positive changes to the economy, variable costs turning out to be lower. So some of the business language here, I think, can quite often overface students. As soon as people see variable cost in a sentence, it makes that sentence, it's not a word you read all the time, and therefore you often quite have to come back and sort of reconsider these answers. So what I'm going to show you now is, hopefully you're comfortable with upsides and downsides, but I'm going to show you an exam practice question. Now this is really typical of the kind of question that will come up in the Unit 1 paper. So we've got a question here, and if you just want to pause the video and read it, and then as soon as you've read it, just click pause again. Sorry, click play. Now you can see from this question that it's quite wordy. What you need to do here is make sure it's got the age-old most likely, so you know that a lot of the answers are going to be possibles. So you really need to go through the annotation process here. You need to say to yourself, right, James knows there's a high percentage of sole traders will fail in the first 2 years. So it's looking for, why do businesses fail? What are the two most likely reasons? Competition from larger companies, is that likely to cause a business to fail? It probably is, but I'm going to give it a question mark. I'm just going to annotate on the paper question mark because I think that might be right. Too much customer demand. Well, let's have a think about what consumer demand is. Consumer demand is people wanting to buy your products. If I've got people wanting to buy my products, that surely cannot cause my business to fail. I'll go back, I'll look at the question again. It is about businesses failing, so I'm going to put a little cross there because I think that's wrong. Having to publish accounts. If a business publishes its accounts, could that cause it to fail? Well, yeah, it probably could. Maybe competitors might find out about them. So I'll put a little question mark Where's my cursor gone? I'll put a little question mark there. Not being able to have a holiday. Is that likely to cause my business to fail? Probably not. It might make me annoyed, but it's not likely to cause my business to fail. So I'll put a little cross there. And if you've got poor cash flow, alright, inflows, outflows, have I got less money coming in than going out? Right, okay, yeah, that could definitely cause my business to fail, I think. So I've got to put a little question mark there. So now I'm thinking it could be A, it could be C, it could be E. But the question is, most likely. So I go back. Whoops, pardon me. So I go back to the question again. High percentage of sole traders whose businesses fail within the first 2 years. Right, now I've cracked it. So I was right in thinking what's going to cause a business to fail, and publishing accounts could give your competitors an advantage. However, sole traders don't need to publish their accounts. Limited companies do. So, whilst this is a plausible answer, what is more likely is competition from larger companies and poor cash flow. This is the way that you've got to tackle that question. You cannot afford in the Unit 1 paper to get any answers wrong, really. The moment that you start getting answers wrong, you very, very quickly drop the points which are added up, your UMS points which are added up to give you your overall grade. And this question, to be honest, it's not that tricky. However, it's the kind of question that people get wrong because it requires that thought process, read, process of elimination, go back to the question, process of elimination, back to the question, and make sure that you've ticked 2, that you are most likely, and that it's answering this question. I hope this video was useful. If you are in my lessons and you need some more support with this, then by all means just come and give me a shout. If you're not in my lessons, then use all the resources which are on the internet, as I'm sure that with a bit more effort you'll get it. Okay, best of luck to everyone who's watched the video.